Hello, beloved tribe. Well, I am jumping in here today. I promise I will be back to read more of chapter 3 of Spiritually Fierce. It did get cut off yesterday at a very, cliff edge moment, and it wasn't my intention. I wasn't trying to sort of to make you wait. It just dropped out. So what I want to talk about today, though, is, as I said, a mini masterclass that has come out of Raquel's question in the group about a client of hers who fears that she has as she describes it, a badass entity around her. And you know, if you've been hanging out in this group for any length of time, that I have very strong feelings. And as Raquel says, the problem is not like her belief. Raquel herself can understand what the truth of that is, but her client is still living inside of the paradigm that there is something outside of her that is scary and she's vulnerable to, and she doesn't have good boundaries, and she's under attack and blah, blah, blah. Now, this is something I obviously, if you know me, you know I have very strong feelings about this, but I sort of want to explain why I have very strong feelings about this. And I kind of want to give you some context for what it is I feel that we as light workers and spiritually fierce people on the path of service, the responsibility that we have. The responsibility that we have is not a comfortable one. It isn't the easy path. It's much easier to just be someone who indulges the fears of our clients or our friends or our family or even our own fears than to be the one who stands up and says no. And it's really a choice now. Now, we know that we live in an extraordinary age. We know that the world is literally accelerating. The length of time of a second is no longer what it once was. Literally, time is speeding up. We live in accelerated political climates where the changes that we're seeing in our governments are happening at such a rapid rate and with such chaos that we're seeing the systems of power falling that we have always believed to be true. The old world order, the economic world order is falling. The environmental status quo is constantly changing at a rate that we can't even begin to fathom. And literally, we're increasing our own electromagnetic rate, and so is the planet. We know that from Schumann resonance, the readings of the Earth's field, if you like, that we've taken since the beginning of this year an enormous leap forward in accelerated resonance. So in every single way, we are living in an extraordinary age. And so what we're being asked to do on the path of service is even greater than it once was. It's not simply to sit inside of the modalities that we've learnt. It's not even simply to sit within, the trinkets and the superstitions. We're being asked to surrender fear. In every way, we're being asked to meet our own power and to offer that to others. And the way that we do that is that sometimes we're going to have to disappoint people. Sometimes we are not going to be able to comfort their suffering. We're going to have to say, what if that's not true? What if that suffering is not real? When it comes to the particular case of having a client who fears for their life from a badass entity that's separate from them, the reality is, if you believe in a world that you need protection from, you will live in a world that you need protection from. So how do we serve in that paradigm if we have someone who is vulnerable and afraid? It may feel like the best thing is to comfort them in that and to accommodate that and to send them off to someone who can tell them that the bad guy's gone. Or we can help them meet their own power. Even if we fear they're not ready for it, well, that's just our judgment. If we are being shown someone who is living in fear, to serve them spiritually is not to perpetuate their belief in the conditions of fear. It is to help them understand whether they are ready consciously or not, because if they're coming to you, they are ready. If you are part of this group, you are part of the spiritually fierce tribe. You don't need a healer. You don't need to be healed. And you don't need to have someone else solve the problem of your fear. What you need is the conditions in which you have the courage, where you're scaffolded and supported to meet your own fear. You know, I don't indulge my clients, and many of them, you know, don't like that at first. And then they do like it because they see that their power is their own. Some people walk away from me though because they need to go and be with someone who's going to heal them or fix them or tell them what the problems are and take away the bad guys for them. And I simply want to say, what if you just choose not to live in that world anymore? And what if we can show you how? And the way that you do that, of course, is to go and meet that fear face on, not to find people who are going to indulge it for you. There's an incredible study from a scientist who from the 50s is interested in researching extraterrestrial phenomena, UFOs and the like. And he devoted the best part of his career to understanding the way that UFOs and extraterrestrials communicated with humans and their interactions, and took accounts from the many thousands of people who had experiences of UFOs and extraterrestrials. And he was trying to explain the phenomenon. Oh, hold on one second, sorry. That wasn't my dog, that was the dog walker. Oh, always, Rufus somehow interferes with my Facebook Lives. So, in this study, what he was able to demonstrate was that if a person needed to believe, not consciously, remember, nothing that we do is conscious. Everything that goes on in the machinations of our fear is at the subconscious level. That extraterrestrials existed, then extraterrestrials existed. And if a person did not need to believe that extraterrestrials existed, then extraterrestrials do not exist. We are literally calling forth from the infinite field of possibility that which we need or desire or are calling forward from our subconscious basement to experience in order to awaken our souls. Some people need to experience or have the belief that extraterrestrials exist, and that serves their soul's awakening. Some people are so terrified of the idea of extraterrestrials existing that extraterrestrials exist because their subconscious basement has called that forward from the infinite field of possibility. And so it goes with bad juju or bad energies. If you live in a world in which something is other than you, something is outside of you, and you believe that you need protection from that thing, you will keep having experiences that will call forward the people, places, events, and entities that confirm that belief. If you do not choose to live in that world anymore, you will no longer live in that world. But you can't just make up your mind with your conscious mind. You need to go into your subconscious basement, and you need to allow that fear to be met face on, and then to transmute it into light, to release it. I cannot emphasize this enough. And it is the difference between those of us who will lead the new paradigm and those who will sit in their trinkets and their superstitions and continue to perpetuate their own misery and the misery and suffering of others in the name of spirituality. And today I'm getting my rant on. No more. This group is not for those people who want to continue to sit in their own fear and pretend it's spirituality. So much bullshit occurs under the name of spirituality. There is nothing that is not spiritual. Literally, quantum physics tells us everything that exists is energy, masquerading as physical solid matter, but it's not true. We are infinite, unlimited consciousness. And for a little bit of a time, we are having a local experience, and that local experience is a holographic projection of our belief about it. You don't have to believe in God, but you do need to believe in the facts of science because they're facts. And these facts tell us these things are truth. There is a unified field that we are constantly communicating with. And we are commanding the universe into action. And we are living the result of our belief about the world. We are literally living inside of our own creation. That is what it is to be a creator. We are not vulnerable passive receivers of our waking life. And it is scary to meet ourselves at that level, and it is also awesome. And it's only scary until we recognize that our power is not something that we can hide from. We are always creating. As quantum physics tells us, there are no watchers in the field. You cannot observe anything without changing it. And so what we begin to understand is our capacity to build the life that we live in is 100% within our control, including if we want to believe that there are non-local, non-physical things outside of us that we are somehow vulnerable to. Do you know where those things come from? They come from within. They come from within you, because you are literally the entire universe in a microcosmic form, projecting your consciousness out and living in it. It's so big that it's almost something that people will choose to hide from rather than stepping into. You know, it isn't something that I'm sharing with you today because I want to say there are not people out there who are having a really bad time and that they feel like their boundaries are really vulnerable and that there are bad things trying to get them. I'm sharing this with you because there are millions of people who feel that way, and you and I can do something about that. We can emancipate people from their fear. We can wed them to their spiritual fierceness rather than continuing to perpetuate the conditions in which people believe that fear exists. Fear does not exist, not in truth, not beyond the illusion, not beyond the collection of false beliefs that are keeping us in a prison. Love is all there is. And so the most powerful way that you can change the world is not to go and seek out a healer who's going to take away stuff that doesn't exist anyway, but to commit yourself daily to choosing love first. And if you don't know how, then hang out in this group because you will meet a lot of people who do. And if you still don't know how, do the heart coherence practice as often as you can, because all you truly have to do what I am saying is not to change your mind, but to open your life and live from your heart, because it is your heart's intelligence, your intuitive intelligence, that will get you there. This is where we must defer to now. The new paradigm is not of the cranial brain. You cannot get there with your mind. Surrender to your infinite intelligence, your intuitive intelligence that resides in your anatomical heart, and your heart chakra is exactly where you need to be locating your life from. This is your time. It is the century of the heart, as Gregg Braden tells us. We are beginning to understand how the heart literally is the portal to the infinite consciousness of which we are all a part. You cannot change your mind. You must defer to the wisdom of your heart's intelligence and devote your life to living from that place. And there is good science and good tools that you can use to do that. So let's do one together now. Someone in the group I was asking for this practice, and I'm going to share it with you here now. Heart Coherence, a HeartMath Institute created tool that is so simple that you possibly won't even believe me that it can change your life, make you younger, every amazing thing you can possibly imagine. This practice does. If you want to know more about it, I can share it with you at another time, or you can go to the HeartMath Institute website. Heart coherence is probably the only tool that you would ever need to change your life from living from a dominant belief of the cranial brain and a fear paradigm to living in the new age, the true new age of a heart's intelligence paradigm. So let's do this together now so you can have an experience of making this shift together. Okay. Deep breath in through the nose, let it go, out through the mouth with a sigh. And if you're safe to do so right now, close down your eyes. If you're not safe to close down your eyes, then I recommend that you do this practice at another time, and you can listen back to this at any time. So if you are able to close down your eyes, do so now. Deep breath in through the nose, let it go one more time with an audible sigh. Take 2 fingers to the center of your chest, lightly placing pressure there. Our eyes closed, our deepened breath signifying to our physiology that we are very, very safe. And 2 fingers at the center of our chest, letting our consciousness know that this is where we want to be operating from. And now we're going to create a neural superhighway between the heart's brain, that cluster of 40,000 cells in your anatomical heart, and the cranial brain. The heart sends more information to the cranial brain than the other way around. The heart is the portal to the infinite one mind. When we defer to our heart first, we are literally attuning to the frequency of God. And to do that, I want you to turn your mental energy now to conjuring up images of people, places, events, memories that elicit strong feelings of gratitude, appreciation, and compassion. If you like, make a mental list of 5 things for which you feel truly, deeply grateful from the last 24 hours of your life. You may find that you fix upon the image of your child's face or your favorite animal. Anything at all that is going to help you feel, really feel those feelings of compassion, gratitude, and appreciation. Imagine, if you like, that you're filling a balloon that surrounds your heart chakra. And you want to keep filling it, expanding that balloon until it feels fit to burst. You're literally altering your vibration. You're attuning to the frequency of the infinite. You don't need to know anything more than that. Keep bringing your mind back to those images, those feelings of gratitude, appreciation, compassion. Remembering this is not meditation. This is a disciplined inner practice. A single pointed focus is required. Take a deep breath in now, let it go out through the mouth with a sigh. And when you're ready, blinking open your eyes. Now, when you're on your own, ideally you'll do that heart coherence practice for 3 minutes. It may take you some time, but eventually you'll get to the point where you simply take your fingers to the center of your chest and you don't need to do anything with your mind. You're simply in that expanded state. This is a truly profound tool that has scientific verification, evidence base behind it. Its simplicity betrays its power. It's so powerful that if this is all you do to change your life, to attune to the paradigm of a heart-centered intelligence, to attune to the reality that there is only love, the truth of our life, then this tool alone will get you there. Your mind will try to step in, your ego mind will try to step in and say, you have to figure this all out. You have to know how to give up your fear. You have to catalog all of your fear. You have to know the backstory to your fear. You have to label your fear in order to release it. And that is simply not true. You simply have to be willing. You simply have to be willing. Am I willing to attune to the frequency of God, to the infinite, to the unlimited? And if so, how many times a day am I willing to do that? You cannot overdo this practice. And it will become so second nature to you that with every breath, you're able to bring yourself into that state, that vibration that you want to be living in, no matter what news you get, no matter how disapproving people are of you, no matter how much physical pain you're in, no matter how many times someone tells you you're not good enough. You simply do not live in that world because everything you need is being provided from the universe within you. This is the new paradigm. I am so excited that so many of us here are so willing and so ready, and there are so many people who will guide you to it. Yes, it may make you unpopular to not be the person who says, oh my God, I'm so sorry, that's terrible, that shouldn't have happened, God's fucked, the world's bad, blah, blah, blah. It's okay for you to not be approved of all of the time. It's okay for you to be the bringer of the new age, not the person who holds the ancient, so not ancient's the wrong word, because that's actually the ancient wisdom is exactly what we're tapping into. But this old fear-based reality that we need other people, that we need other people to fix us, that there is something bigger than us, there's something outside of us that's ugly and trying to get us. There is nothing outside of us. I mean, that's basically it. That's what I'm trying to say. Everything you're living, you have manifested. There is nothing outside of you. Nothing outside of you is trying to get you. You are it, baby. You are everything. And with great power comes great responsibility. And that may be too much for some of you, and you may say, no, I don't want that. I want someone else to tell me that this is what I need and this is how I'm going to do it. You know, when I train my priestesses, the intuitive intelligence method that they're trained in is not as readers of your energy so they can tell you what's wrong with you and you go home and you have to keep seeing them to get that fix. They are literally removing fear so that you may know that your truth is that you are the infinite. And from that paradigm, you go forward and you create your life. My method is not another system of trying to rob people of personal power. Nothing I teach, nothing I say, nothing that I will condone in this group will ever be about you getting to give your power away. Every time you try, and you can ask my third level priestesses because it shits them to tears, I'm going to give you your power back, and I say, nope, keep going, you can do this. And it is not an easy place to live because there is nowhere to hide until you get to the other side of it, and then it's freaking bliss, because that is our true nature. Okay, I could go on and on and on about this. I feel quite strongly about it, but mostly I feel so much love. I feel so much love for you that I do not want to be the cause of any more suffering. I want to offer you your truth back to you again and again and again. I want to show you who you are. You are pure, unlimited consciousness. Are you ready to surrender to that? Have the best day ever. I'll be back in a little while to read you some more of my book.